Hello everybody, it's me, Undead Viking, coming to you with another video review. Alright, so the game I'm reviewing, as you probably guessed, is The Lord of the Rings, Nazgul, with the cool little umlaut-like thing there. As you may well know, or if you don't, and if you don't, turn in your geek card right now. The Nazgul and Lord of the Rings are one of the most beloved fantasy franchises. There were some great, awesome movies by Peter Jackson, and he's got the Hobbit movie coming out fairly soon. And of course, we can't forget the fact that most of us read The Hobbit and perhaps saw the old cartoon, the Ralph Bakshi cartoon, way back in the day, and also probably read the Lord of the Rings books as well. I mean, I remember reading them in junior high, which is 1,000 years ago now, and I know, I mean, the vast majority of people my age that are geeks have played it, and I'm not saying that people that are younger haven't, but I mean, I've run into a fair share that have never read the books, and the Peter Jackson movies are really their only immersion into the world. My wife is one of those people, but I'm not poo-pooing that. I mean, the movies were pretty cool. I mean, maybe they didn't follow the books completely, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. They're still very entertaining, and I enjoyed watching them a great deal. This game is put out by WizKids. It is what's called a semi-co-op. If you notice, like here, it's a semi-cooperative game. So, what does that mean? That means that the game tries to beat you, so the game is the mechanic you're trying to defeat, and so if you do poorly, and because the theme of the game is the Nazgul, just like in the movies and in the books, are chasing after the hobbitses, and they're trying to get the One Ring back, you know, so Sauron can take over Middle-earth and have the realm fall under his control. So the Nazgul, as you know, are the kings of men that were given rings of power, and they were subverted under Sauron's will. And so each person takes on a role of one of those Nazgul, and they are working together to try to bring about the fall of man. Now then, however, the underlying plot point of the game is that whoever does the best of all the Nazgul, and meaning gets the most victory points, at the end of the game, if you succeed in beating the game, you're the winner. So you're declared the winner of the game because you did the best for your evil Lord Sauron, and you get to be in charge of the Nazgul moving forward to the millennia of eternity of torment that you will do as Sauron controls Middle-earth. Basically, if you lose, everybody loses. If you win, one person wins. So that's where the semi-cooperative aspect of the game comes from. I'm going to show you how you play the game. There's a ton of bits, ton of cool little things to look at. It's not too tough to actually learn how to play the game, but it has some wrinkles here and there, and I'm hopefully going to explain those to you. And then after all is said and done, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of this game. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I think may be a big hiccup for some groups as far as their enjoyment of the game, and I'm also going to show that why I think, at least for my group, we were able to get past that and really enjoy it. So, okay, well, here is how you play Lord of the Rings Nazgul. Okay, this is the main game board for Nazgul. And it is a little confusing the first time that you look at it. You're seeing instead of like I've heard some complaints that instead of being a rather intuitive map for the game, it just seems like it's a bunch of little spots on the board. But after you've played the game, it does make sense, and you can kind of follow it pretty well. If you notice, there are 3 sections to it, 3 different campaigns that the Nazgul have to complete and win in order to capture the hobbits. And there are this, which is the path to Rohan, and you can see there's these little hoof marks that go, and they start here in Edoras, Rovanion, Helm's Deep, and the Hornburg. And then over here, you have Osgiliath, to Pelennor Fields, to Minas Tirith, to the Final Stand. And finally up here you have Weathertop, to the Rittermark, to the Blackgate, and then finally to Mount Doom. On each one of these locations, there are several different things. It'll tell you which stage it is, as far as the little stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, so you can tell what level that particular spot is. The blue path on the outside is the Free People's armies, like how many armies are in that location. And if you decide to battle in that location, you'll look and you probably can't see it, and I do apologize for that, but the numbers that are on here, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, 1, 2, 3, like these are the heroes, the white cubes are the heroes. They'll have an asterisk, so like you can see here in Edoras, there's 1 by the white, so if you went to fight there, you'd put 1 white cube right there, in blue 3, so you'd put a blue right there. Now that number can be altered by certain cards and stuff like that, and so you'd move the cubes as you will if that happens. And so like in comparison, in the Hornburg, you'll see that there is an asterisk by the 3. Well, maybe you won't see it, but there's 3 heroes and 5 armies there. So, something to look at. This is the number of victory points the spot is worth if you defeat it. Like starting off with 1 here and 4 up there. And also, there are some spots that have certain rules, like in Weathertop, if you actually assign yourself to that spot at the beginning, because that's where the Nazgul kind of first appear, or you get the good look at them as far as the movies do. It'll tell you get a little bonus if you go there in the first turn. Also in here it says that the Weathertop is automatically completed at the end of the round. So even if you don't go there, you do defeat that location. And also the Witch King starts here. So you place this token, and I'll explain the Witch King here in a little bit, but the Witch King starts in Weathertop. And of course, the ending here is here in Mount Doom, where you're trying to prevent the One Ring from being thrown into the volcano. You'll see here, the 3 different chapters, chapter 1, 2, and 3. You get this little token with, of course, the One Ring on it, and you will slowly move that across as you do the turns. You'll notice that there are basically 3 turns for each chapter, meaning there are 9 turns to the game. Depending on which track you use is depending on how many players. So as you increase the number of players, the game becomes more difficult, but theoretically you have more players, so the game should be easier, right? Alright, so that's a good overview. There's a lot of different cards. These are the quest cards. They come in, obviously, the 1, 2, and 3. Those are used during the different chapters. These are the secret quest cards that each player gets, and you can get more of them. These will be used to have, basically at the end of the game, if you qualify for certain things. Like, say, look at this one. This is defeat the enemy's champions. You gain +2 victory points if you slay 1 hero of rank 1 through 20. So, like, and heroes are ranked, it's kind of weird. Like, a rank 1 hero is like a really, really powerful hero, and like a rank 40 hero is not a powerful hero. So, or gain +5 victory points if you slay 2 or more heroes of rank 1 through 20. So you'll notice that that's your little bonus victory points at the end of the game, and you'll get these, and you can discard these if at some point and draw other ones by gaining certain favors. If you come to the point where it's just you realize you're not going to be able to pull it off. But anyway, these are the Nazgul cards of power. Once again, these are things that you will gain during the game, and these are basically cards that allow you to break the rules in some way. Like, here, explosives. Play before pulling cubes from a combat cup. All orc cubes you pull have damage 2, and all orcs you control have health 2 for the rest of the battle. So it's just something, little abilities that you can use. And you can, obviously, gain more of these as the game goes. And probably one of the more important decks in the game is going to be the Heroes deck. Now, the heroes are both evil and good people. There's a lot more good people than there are evil. And I'm just going to point out something really cool. Gandalf the Grey starts off in the hero deck. However, if you manage to kill him off, you'll notice he's worth 0 victory points, because he becomes Gandalf the White, and you put that guy back into the hero deck. You're going to be reshuffling the hero deck over and over and over again, because of the fact that you randomly draw a hero. I'll just put Gandalf in there. You randomly draw a hero for each Nazgul, and I'll explain that in a moment. And also you'll be randomly drawing heroes out of this deck for when you go to a battle, if you don't happen to use the heroes that the Nazgul draw. But that's the hero deck. So, alright. Well, I'm going to show you how you do a turn, and I'm not going to go really in depth, but I'm going to show you how this works. You'll notice that there's a bunch of cubes over here, and I'll explain that when I explain combat and some other things. These brown cubes you see here, these are used as the currency, basically, in the game. This is Sauron's favor. And you can gain this by killing off armies, or killing heroes, or completing quests, or you just get to at the beginning of each turn. You use that for using this wheel. And if you notice, this wheel is like, one, you can see up on top, it tells you how much it costs to have each one of these particular creatures in your army. So you can see you have one orc, it costs 0. To have 2 orcs, to buy basically go to 2 orcs, it costs you 1. 3 costs you 1, 4, and then on out, like your 5th orc will cost you 2, however. You notice the trolls and the Mumakil, which the Mumakil, if you don't know, were the guys riding the elephants. They cost 2 just to get 1, 3, and so on and so forth. You can see it steadily increases as it goes across. Interesting note, trolls are only able to be used in combats that have walls, and Mumakil are only able to be used in combats that don't have walls. So you need to kind of have a wide variety of units. Orcs are the cannon fodder, and they can be used for anything. I should mention that the places that have walls will have them listed right here on the spot. So like here in Rovanion, there is no wall, so there's 0 here. But here in Helm's Deep, obviously, there's a wall of 4. And walls have to be broken down before you can start killing off the humans. So, one of the first things that happens is that each person gets their 2 Sauron cubes at the beginning, so you have your favor and anything you might have gained from the last turn. And each Nazgul gets to draw a hero card after you shuffle this. So like you draw on like here, ooh, the Eagles, and you notice like they are rank 41. And then next one. Ooh, no, not another Ranger of Ithilien. And see, it's a 5-player game. Ooh, Soldier of Rohan. Well, there's Treebeard. He's a 16, obviously, and Treebeard's pretty powerful. And you can see, like, he's worth, like, 3 victory points if you manage to kill him off. Whereas, the Eagles will be worth 1 victory point. So, each person will get a hero that they'll place in front of them, and then everybody can see that. You don't hide it from anybody. And then after you've drawn, each person draws their hero. Now you're going to bid your favor. Now each person is going to get one of these little screens you kind of place in front of you. And the screen's actually pretty nice because it pretty much has the entire rule set right in front of you. And it tells you like starting and what each one of these spots on the card actually means, and it explains the clicks on the dial. Oh, I forgot to tell you these cool figures. These are you. You get to be the Nazgul. These are really cool looking guys. And obviously, if you've played with Clicks games, you know that these miniatures are actually, really well done. And I think that they're high quality. Personally, I know some people say that, maybe since they're mass produced and not, hand painted or anything by somebody, they're not as good. But I think they're pretty cool. But anyway, if you've never played a HeroClix game before, and that's very well, you notice that there's this little, window, and there's all these different abilities. So like you can see like that's the combat ability, there's a terror ability, that the cubes, how many cubes you draw in combat, things like that. And as you gain levels, you will move the clicks like this, and as you lose levels, because of damage you take, you'll move the clicks like that. And so like the numbers will increase or decrease as it moves. So that's why this is a HeroClix game. Anyway, and that's how you determine those abilities. But if you notice, like here, it actually just describes. So it says, tactics, number of cards you can pull, armies, that's the number of armies you can bring to battle, your damage if you do combat, and your terror ability, which is over there. So you can just see they list it off, and then here they list off what each one of the heroes does. And you have this to look at, which is, this is actually really, really nice. Plus it explains the bidding wheel and other things as far as that goes. But anyway, so you'll notice that what each person does is they after they get everything, they cover up what they have like this, and then they secretly place their Sauron favor. They're not Sauron favor. They're favor cubes that they've received, either by getting them at the beginning of the turn or also what they've earned in the past, and they place them on these locations around the wheel. And starting with the cards of power, you reveal, and starting with the cards of power, you see who put what where, and then you determine who gets, the best. So, like, if you were the first person with most cubes and cards of power, you get to draw 3 cards of power and keep 1. If you're the second person, you draw 2 and keep 1, and if you are third or lower, then you just get to draw a card. If you're in Sauron's favor, this is the turn order. That determines which, if you go first, second, third, fourth, whatever. And also you get to draw a new secret quest. The Witch King, if you're here, you get to basically control the Witch King for a turn, which is really cool, because that means you can go to 2 spaces, or the Witch King can back you up. And it's always nice to have like another Nazgul there fighting for you. And on Saruman's Aid, that allows you to draw cards out of the hero's deck, look at them, and then bury them in either on top or on the bottom of the deck. So when you draw cards for the combats later, you kind of know what's coming up. This is the gain clicks. It basically levels you up. If you're the person who spends the most here, you gain 2 clicks. So you gain 2 levels, and this is used a lot. And if you or anybody else, just gains 1. And gain forces really doesn't matter, because everybody can just use that. And whatever you spend there allows you to get more units at the cost that I explained earlier. So you go through that, you do that whole process, and then after that, you start making the decisions of what each player is going to do in their particular turn. So what happens is that they need... Oh, there is one final thing I forgot to mention. If you happen to bid the same as somebody else, you can break up the tie if you're willing to spend the hero card that's in front of you. If you spend the hero card that's in front of you, that basically guarantees that that particular hero is going to be used in a combat if it happens out there. So if you spend that hero card, you want to make sure that you don't spend like Aragorn, because he's really tough and like, unless you think you can beat him. But if you really want to break a tie with somebody else and to get the reward for having like the most cubes in a certain location that's on this, you can do so. Just to add a little wrinkle as far as that's concerned. If none of the heroes wants to play a hero card, then you basically, each person just places a different colored cube in the cup, and you shake this cup here, which is used for combat, and you shake it up and you just draw a cube out, and whoever happens to be the luckiest gets that. So, but also you should mention that like only if you tied for it. Not everybody that's on that spot gets the option of playing a hero card. It can only be people that tied for bidding the most. But at that point, and actually I think you do it just before that, you reveal quests. Now these are the quest cards I'm going to show you. So you reveal, depending on the number of people that are playing, you draw a number of cards -1. So if you had 5 people, you turn these over. And these will either have like a certain quest that they have on them, or they'll have what's called an event. And so like, I'm just going to see if these say event. If it's an event, you handle it immediately. No, that's not an event. Not an event. Not an event. So there's no events in this particular one. But each one of these is a location that needs to be dealt with. And sometimes if you don't do anything, nothing happens. But sometimes if you don't deal with it in any way, shape, or form, then bad things happen. So like new recruits are heading for Minas Tirith. Stop them. So if you go here, there's going to be 1 hero and 2 armies. And so you have to go here and you defeat them. So you can defeat the hero, maybe get some victory points, kill these guys off, get some favor. And if you do, each Nazgul here receives a victory point. And failure, all starting heroes and people's armies are added to the lowest Gondor campaign stage. So obviously, can we deal with not dealing with this and having another hero and more armies showing up over in Minas Tirith? Well, it's one of those things where you have to decide. But coupled with handling these, and these aren't always bad. Sometimes there's something that's good that you get from getting there, or nothing bad happens if you don't do it. You also have to decide if the time is right for you to go to one of these locations on the board and try to defeat it. Now, if you're playing it, there's different levels of difficulty. If you're playing it like on the easiest level, like the first 2 locations on each one of these tracks are going to be done, so you don't have to worry about them. And I strongly suggest playing it on the easy level the first time you play. But if you're not playing on an easy level and you're playing it at the most difficult, meaning all of the spaces are open, you have to defeat the last spot on each one of these tracks to win the game. You can go to Mount Doom if one of the last spots has been successfully done, and Mount Doom is a different way of handling it. I'll explain that in a minute. But you can't go to Mount Doom until either the final stand or Hornburg is done, and you can't win the game until you have actually defeated the last location on each one of these spots. And you can't go to the last location until you've defeated everything that's before it. So everybody talks and says, well, okay, I'll go here, I'll go there. Somebody, I'm going to go Weathertop. And somebody says, well, you know what, I'm going to go to Edoras, and I'm going to bring the Witch King with me, and so on and so forth. And Osgiliath, and I'll go to Edoras with you, and I'll help you defeat that. Now, after all the locations are done, starting with the first player, you will start resolving these combats. So what will happen is that, like, say Edoras, you see here, there's 3 human armies and 1 hero. So normally, you'd grab these cubes, like so, and you'd have these, and so you'd go, okay, well, I'm going to put those in the cup, so they're in the cup, and say both of these Nazgul, they brought their 1 orc with them, so they have orcs, so let's see, 2 of those, and you grab these 2, and also the Witch King is there, so you can see there are 3 of these cool Nazgul dice. So like that. However, now, if nobody wants to contribute a hero to the fight, but let's say somebody does, they can go ahead and contribute, like before, remember we had those like weakling guys or whatever, since there's 1 hero in that spot, like here. Oh, the hero, and also you should know it has to match. So like the Soldier of Rohan, notice that has that symbol of the horse. These are the Rohans. So, all right, well, I'll contribute this guy. So that's the hero we're going to fight there. So that's the hero cube, which is better, than, say, facing, somebody that has that location, say, like Gimli, who has that location. Notice he's got all 3, and he can do a heck of a lot more damage. So the really nice thing is because the Nazgul are so scary, they have a terror location. And if there isn't somebody there, a hero there, that is really, really brave, so to speak, and you notice that they don't combat the fear effect that the Nazgul manages to have on the armies. And the fear, that's the valor ability. And you notice, like, Soldier on, that's a 0. But let's look at that. Let's look at what Gimli was again. And like, see, Gimli has a valor of 2, and like others have even more. So because of that, and because the terror is great, you're actually going to remove all 3 of the armies that are sitting there, because they're too scared to fight. So all that's left, unfortunately, is the 3 Nazgul, the 2 orcs, and the 1 hero. So the first player goes, and he shakes these up, and he can draw 2 cubes, because that's what level he's at. So you draw 2 cubes. A Nazgul and an orc. The orc does 1 damage. His Nazgul does 4 damage. Okay, we add those up. That's so you've killed off the 3 armies. Go first. If there's a wall there, you'd attack the wall first. Now the 3 armies are dead, even though they're too scared to fight. They're still there. So you kill those off, and you've done 1 point of damage, because each army takes 1 point. You look at this. He's got a health of 2. So there we go. We've done 1 point of damage to him. There's only 1 guy left. 1 point of damage left. Next guy goes. He draws 2 cubes. Oh, well, we just totally destroyed that. So the person who kills the hero gets to keep them, and he gets the victory points. The favor that's there gets distributed evenly amongst the people. And for each army you destroyed, you gain a favor as well. So the first person would have gotten 3 favor for killing off those 3 human armies. The second player gets these victory points, and then gets one favor for this, and the other person gets rewards. So you can see that you divvy up the rewards. You've defeated this location. Now Edoras is well swamped. Next turn, you can start working on Rovanion, and then you can move up the chain. And then the other two people will process what they're doing in their turn. Hopefully they have just as much success as everyone else. And you go forward from there. Hopefully, and then as the turns go, you keep going across like that, and things get tougher and tougher as the game progresses. And hopefully you're making good progress. You're hoping that these quest cards don't add too much difficulty to the game as it goes on. And and hopefully eventually get to Mount Doom. Mount Doom, you don't really have a combat there. What all it is you're searching. You're searching for the hobbits. You go and you have, over here, if there's 5 players, you get 3 hero cubes. If there's 2 players, you get 2 hero cubes. And what happens is that you just put those, like 3 hero cubes in there. And say there's 3 Nazgul players that go and search. Each one gets to decide how many cubes they're going to pull. You have to pull 2 Nazgul cubes before you pull the hero cubes. And then that means you found the hobbits. So the first person says, I'm going to draw 1. Oh, I got a Nazgul. Okay, the next person goes, because there's 3 players there. I'm going to draw 1. Oh no! So now you have to draw 2 Nazgul cubes for the hero. Third person goes, I'll draw 1. Curses! The hobbits they got away. So the hobbits escape that particular turn. Hopefully you'll still have time next turn to actually find them. If I draw a Nazgul, that means we found the 1 ring, and hopefully if we had defeated all the other spots, these 2 locations, and done it, we've captured the hobbits, we've kept the 1 ring from being destroyed, and Middle Earth falls under the spell of Sauron. But that's how you play the game. Pretty cool, huh? Well, let me tell you exactly what I think. Awesome. Alright, so how do you like how you play the game? I will fully admit that the rules had a couple of hiccups for us as far as reading them. They're really, really straightforward. Though, some of the things that maybe... It's probably something, personally, that I, glossed over, and I'm very prone to that. One of the things that after you've, read rules, you tend to just kind of be trying to filter out, the high points, or the bullet points, if you will. And a lot of times that'll happen where I'm, doing that, and I'll end up missing really, really basic stuff, and then halfway through the game we'll be like, well, how does that work? And it's like, well, it wasn't in the rules, and I'll read through it, and it's like, oh yeah, it wasn't in the rules. But it's a pretty good rule book. It's pretty straightforward, and the game itself, like I said, is really straightforward. It's one of those games that after you've played a turn or two, it just clicks by, because everybody kind of gets it. So I already said in the introduction that my group and I really enjoyed the game. Now, what do I like about the game? I really like the battle mechanic of putting the different cubes in there, and then you shake them up and you pull them out, because it's that risk-reward type situation. I like the fact that you need to put your orcs and your trolls and your Mamakul in there, so because you have to commit forces to the battle. So if you do end up taking damage from the heroes, the Nazgul won't take damage, because losing levels and taking hits to your Nazgul sucks. So, but you can't put too many of those in there, because if all you're drawing is your orcs, they're doing really kind of piddly damage. And so there's that kind of well, maybe I'll only take 3 orcs this time, maybe I'll take 2 orcs and a troll, that kind of thing, and where you're trying to judge. And also it's one of those things too where because if there's multiple players on this certain spot, it's just really nice because you have multiple Nazgul there, and you can draw those Nazgul dice, and you can just do tons of damage, which is totally cool. It weighs yourself in your favor. But if all of you just sit there and group up on one spot over and over again, you're not going to have enough time to defeat the game. So it's one of these things where it's you have to kind of spread yourself thin, but you can't spread yourself too thin because you don't want to fail. So it's a wonderful little game where you're constantly trying to use your resources as good as you possibly can, and it's really, really tough. And like I said, the game itself is really, really tough. We played it on easy to start with, and we lost, and then we played it on easy after we kind of learned the game, and then we barely won. Then we played it again on easy, and we won fairly easily because we had a good idea what we were supposed to do. So we graduated to a moderate difficulty level, and the game just, beat the heck out of us, and so it's one of those things where it's like, I look at hard, I haven't even played it on hard, and and maybe there's people out there who have played it on hard, you're like, it's easy Undead Viking, you know what you're talking about, then maybe I just suck, but I'm guessing that there's a vast majority of you out there that if you play it on hard, you're going to get your butt handed to you, and and which is fine. I mean, I like games that can hand me my butt, if you will, because I don't want it to be too easy. I want it to challenge me, and I want there to be something, a hill to climb and get over, and because of the fact that you can vary it and vary your difficulty level, that's going to add to the longevity of the game, and it's going to keep me coming back for more, and it has kept me coming back for more. Other things I like about the game, well, I like the theme. I know a lot of people are going to nitpick and say, well, it isn't the Tolkien Lord of the Rings, it's the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings. And, okay, I can buy into that. I mean, I'm guessing from a marketing standpoint, it probably behooved WizKids to market it, with the Peter Jackson, look, if you will, because that's what people know it. They don't know it by the old school books, so to speak. But I really like the theme. I like the idea of being a Nazgul. I like being the bad guy. If you ever watch wrestling, professional wrestling, it always seemed like the bad guy wrestlers were having a heck of a lot more fun than the good guys. Because the good guys are like, I'm always going to win. And, the bad guys are the ones, plotting and corrupting in the background. And that always seemed like a lot more fun. And in this way, even though, it's like, you're the bad guys, this is a time when, like, the bad guys can shine. And they can actually, win, and you can, kill Legolas and the stupid little, shield skateboarding elf, and like, not today, Legolas, yeah, So it's stuff like that that really makes the game fun. And it's one of those games because it's a theme, it tells a story, and everybody's involved, and everybody's talking. And because of the fact that it's a semi-co-op, and there's that little bit of screwage and a little bit of backstabbing going on, it kind of adds to the whole flavor. And everybody at the table's all involved and talking and having a good time. 5 people plays great. 4 people, not as good as 5. 3, I don't think it should be played with 3, honestly. I think this is a 4 or 5 player game. Yeah, you can play with 3. I tried it with 3. It's fun. It just wasn't as much fun as 4 and 5, if that makes sense. Now, the huge problem people are going to have with this game is the semi-co-op of it. And that's, like I just alluded to, that's like makes it cool for me. I think that's what's going to happen with a lot of people. They're not going to like the game. And I think ultimately they're not going to like the game because they're going to have somebody who plays the game that's going to be sitting there saying, well, these secret missions I have and the stuff that's coming out and the heroes that I'm getting, this sucks. I can't win. I can't get any victory points. Well, screw this. If I can't win, nobody's going to win. And they're just going to make suboptimal choices, and they're going to go do stupid things that aren't helping the rest of the party or the rest of the group, but, they're just trying to do these things that maybe get them a few more victory points, and in the off chance that everybody else working together, can win the game, that maybe they'll have a chance to win. And, okay, I understand that is a possibility that the people will do that, but I mean, seriously, that guy sucks, or girl, if they're playing that way. Because this game isn't, how do I explain this? It isn't about, being the ultimate winner. You can't play it like that. Tons of co-op games out there have mechanics that say you have to beat the game. And after you beat the game, you can look at the situation and you can say, who was the best winner, if you will. Like Arkham Horror has rules for, like who's the hero of Arkham, who closed the most gates, who killed the most monsters, who did this, who did that. And you total up points, you can say, oh, well, we all won, we saved the world, but, you were the best person as far as saving the world, And, they don't get anything special. Maybe they don't have to pick up the game afterwards or something like that. But in this game, because of the fact that they kind of stress that only one person can win, you have that mentality going on. There are some full co-op rules in the game, and I played it once, and it works, but it doesn't work as well, in my opinion. It seems like, in my opinion, it was one of those things where they kind of played it and they said, this is really awesome, but I can see there's going to be a contingent of fans that are going to be saying, well, I don't like playing it like this. I want to play it where we all work together. And so then they came up with rules that, admittedly work really well, And I think if you started off playing the full co-op rules and never played the semi-co-op ones, you might really enjoy it, and you never know. But once you play the semi-co-op, and I kind of like screwage, and I kind of like a little bit of backstabbing going on, it just adds too much to the game for me to walk away. Now, that being said, it's one of those things where you have to decide as a player when you're sitting down to play this game, you have to decide that, yes, one person is going to be 100% the winner, but the rest of you are going to be like 95% the winner. And can you just accept being 95% the winner and just say, well, I didn't become the leader of the Nazgul, but I got to kill a bunch of hobbits and destroy the kingdom of men, so that's pretty cool, right? And just that's fine by me. And you have to have that mentality. Play as good as you possibly can. Maybe do a little bit of power mongering, just trying to maximize your victory points as good as you possibly can. But then weigh that against the goods of the many and actually being able to defeat the game. So I think, like I said, that's where the vast majority of the complaints are going to come from this game. Now, if you're in that boat, I don't know what I can say to convince you otherwise, but we got past it. Our game group got past it, and I'll fully admit, the first time I played this, I had that mentality. I was just like, well, screw that. I'm not going to do that. That's going to give you victory points. I'm going to go over here and do this. And we, and the game didn't work. And we were like, well, and then they were saying, well, this game isn't much fun. I was like, well, let's try it again, and let's everybody just really work hard on just beating the game. And then it opened up its doors to us, if you will. And we really started having a lot of fun. So take that as you will. I know there's some people out there that are complaining about the components issues. Yeah, the card stock's a little thin. Just sleeve the cards. If you're somebody that hates sleeving cards, I don't know what to tell you. But I just bought some penny sleeves and I sleeved mine. I didn't have those in the review. I do apologize because of the fact that the light shines off the plastic, and so it's tough to see them. But yeah, I just bought some penny sleeves and sleeved the cards, and they work just fine. Another thing that I just quickly, these little models or whatever of the Nazgul, these are like super cool, and they're very neat looking, but they look a lot alike. Because, at first glance, you really wouldn't tell the difference. Yeah, okay, fine, this guy's pointing, and this guy's sword is that way, and this guy's sword is there, and they're wielding the sword, in different ways, and their hands are pointing in different directions. But with everything moving around on the board, and if, these two people are on the same spot, you're like, which one's mine, which one's mine? You kind of look at the little numbers here and see what level they're on and stuff like that. With that, what we've done is that I have these cool little colored blocks here, and yeah, I know it does look a little silly for there to be a bright yellow block, but what we've done is we just place a yellow block under, and so you can easily see which one's yours, and that's what we've done to kind of combat that. And ultimately, it really isn't that big of a deal. You'll be able to figure it out, but I can see where somebody might have an issue with that, and so I can totally buy into it. But other than that, like I said, these things are super cool looking. So, but yeah, there you go. Lord of the Rings, Nazgul, out by WizKids. You can pick it up right now at your online game store or friendly local game store of choice. If you have any questions or ideas or concerns about how you play the game, or any rules, or you want to comment on this video, by all means, post those, and I'll try to answer those as quickly as I possibly can. And until next time, this has been Undead Viking. Thank you very much for watching this review and taking the time to do that. And until next time, I'll see you later.